What's going on, man?
What's up?
How are you?
Good, you?
Good. We got another episode of Recalibrate Real Talk. So, like I've told everybody that's on here, first off, thank you
Yeah,
for coming on
yeah,
here. I know,
definitely.
like, you and I were just talking before this. It's like anytime you are doing this, it's out of comfort zone
Right.
for a lot of us.
Yeah,
So, my hope and a positive thing of you being here is that someone is going to be watching this, and if there's one person that like prompts them to take action, that's ultimately
right.
what matters.
Yeah,
You're the
definitely.
first guy on, so we're going to do more.
Awesome.
We have some more people lined up, so
Cool.
really excited to hear your perspective here. So this is Matt, 41 years old. Gosh, his before and after here is crazy. I mean, looks like a completely
Yeah,
new human being.
yeah.
Dude, you're pumping out like weighted dips and pull-ups now.
Yep.
Like we were talking before, and I know that you've just recently got this in the last few months. I think in the summertime you were finishing up on it. That picture on the left, you weren't like you may have not even. Were you working out then? Were you doing anything
No.
then?
That picture on the left was just surviving.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, just an every, just a normal day to day, like, just being alive.
going through the
Like, yeah,
motions.
just getting up, going to work, coming home, like, and at that time I was traveling. I was traveling for work. I was gone all the time, so it was hard to even think about eating healthy or quality food. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, you're literally living out of fast food restaurants and gas station food and you name it. So, I
yeah.
mean, it got to the point where, I mean, that's what happened.
It happened
You know?
slowly.
Yeah,
You know,
it did.
and now you have your personal training
Yep,
certification.
yep.
I mean, you look incredible.
Thank you.
Your physique is completely changed. You know, like just two completely
Yeah,
different people. And
absolutely.
I know it's affected multiple areas of your life for the better,
Yeah, definitely.
which that's what we want to talk about. So, a couple questions here. Just briefly tell me what made you decide to start something like this, and then also share a little bit about who you are, married, kids,
Sure.
all of that.
So, I mean, ultimately, it was, I guess it boiled down to being for me, when it kind of started out because I got to the point where, I'd lost weight on my own, done okay with it, maintained some form of, health, I guess you could say, but still just wasn't where I wanted to be. Kind of struggled for a while, went through some family loss and stuff where just kind of everything went back out the window. There was no time to worry about what I was eating or when I was eating or how I was eating. It was strictly, take care of, like, put this fire out, move to the next one kind of situation. So it got to the point where I knew that I was in a bad spot again. I'm like, I'm almost 230 pounds. I feel terrible. I'm unhappy with myself, which is making me very unpleasant to be around for anybody,
Irritable.
And I tried everything else. I went back to my old ways. It was tried, Whole30 and tried counting calories and try doing this and try running 7 miles a day. And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, working like a dog,
yeah,
just working yourself.
absolutely. And getting nowhere. Absolutely getting nowhere. So actually, the wife, she was pretty motivational with it too, and not in a bad way. Not, hey, you need to lose weight. It's,
Supportive.
why don't you try this? Like, she's like, I've seen people, I know people that have gone through this. Like, give it a shot. And I'm like, yeah, kind of the same as, I'm sure you've had the responses too. I can't go that long without eating. I'm like, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that's gonna work.
Yeah.
And it took me a little while. It really did. I'm like, well, let's try it on our own first. Let's try fasting on our own.
Yeah.
Not knowing any of the specifics behind
Yeah.
it. It's just, okay, well, I'm not going to eat for X amount of time, and then I can eat whatever I want after I'm done with that, and it obviously doesn't work that way. So that, it got to that point, and I just knew that, I had to make a change, and finally it was everything else is not working.
Yeah.
What do I have to lose? Let's go for it, you know. And here we are now.
You push the launch button. I want to talk about something briefly too, because you're educated now. You have a background now in health and fitness, and
Yeah.
you've probably learned a ton. You've learned a ton through this experience. That term fasting for people, sometimes they can have like a dirty like
Right.
they have their own self judgment of it. Maybe they have a bad experience with it. It didn't work for them. First off, fasting can literally mean going 13 hours without consuming food,
Yeah.
which isn't, I always tell people it's not that big of a deal. It's going from
Right.
7 p.m. to 8 a.m. the next day.
Right.
You just did the body a lot of good. You actually probably tackled some late night snacking behaviors that are poor that a lot of us do.
Right.
You're aiding in digestion and actually allowing your body to recover
Right.
overnight how it's supposed to, and not not have to worry about breaking down and digesting a bunch of food.
Right.
So that's one thing, like people's misinterpretation. Would you agree that the duration of fasting, how long you're doing it, can be different for everybody,
Oh, absolutely.
and the frequency,
Yeah.
how often you want or choose to do it?
Yeah.
The leaner you get, you kind of can get to a position where it's like you can get away with doing it less often and not as much. So I guess my big thing is I want to harp that it can be different for everybody.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The second thing is with Recalibrate, there's so much more to it than the fast. Like fasting is one component of it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more
Yeah.
that you
A
get
small
from that.
component of it, really,
Right.
when you look at it in the big picture. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of the base layer, if you will, but
yeah,
it's not the end all be all
right.
of it.
The biggest thing that I've heard from people, it changes your perspective in relationship, the way that you kind of look at food.
Yes.
We psych ourselves out
Yeah.
all the time. It's like, I'm never, like when we go on a diet,
Right.
we automatically think, I'm like, I'm never going to get to eat again, or I'm not going to get to
Yeah.
indulge or have this. And it's like,
Right.
wait a minute. Yes, you are. It's not that big of a deal. Once you
Right.
kind of get past that mental barrier, things happen.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what has, this first question here, what has surprised you the most about this versus everything else that you've done?
I would say, and I think Heather even touched on this too, like the ease of it and the sustainability of it. Like it becomes part of your daily life.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think about it anymore. And I think you've said this too. Like I get up in the morning, like on my fasting days, get up in the morning, I have a 64-ounce water bottle, literally fill it up with ice and water, throw it in my bag, I walk out the door,
Right.
and that's it. Like there's no...
What about when you're not fasting? What's your day look like then? It's not overthinking it,
No.
or it's just following some of those 10 lean
Yeah.
habit protocols and just not stressing. Not
Right.
stressing about it. That was one of my favorite things about this kind of lifestyle, is that you go on a vacation, you have an off week or weekend. It's like, it kind of makes it easy to start that next Monday and just be like, all right, you know what? I don't have to worry about like all these other different stressful
Right.
deals. And like, I gotta go grocery shopping for all, like, you could
Right.
kind of make that day be your simple day to hop right back into
Right.
a fast or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and that was, and I'm sure we'll touch on this too, but as far as like ease and simplicity, the whole spending hours in the kitchen on Sunday meal prepping, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like all that's gone.
Yeah.
We don't, now obviously we still make a list of, what meals and stuff we're going to have for the week and make sure we have everything we need, but it's not, okay, we have to put together 10 lunches, 5 apiece, and we have to
Yeah.
weigh all this food out, and we have to make,
Yeah.
that's gone.
I'm going to pop back. I think this is the picture here. I'm going to pop back to that second question. But when I look at you here, the one on the right versus the left, I don't see someone that is like, I see a lean, like athletic, completely changed body composition. Muscle is there. You don't look like someone that, belongs in Auschwitz or a concentration camp, and you haven't went 30 days without eating food. It's
Right.
just totally like
Yeah.
we blow things out of proportion.
We
So
do, yeah.
you're in a much better position today than you were there. The second part of this question here, I told you, and you know this statistic because you and I have talked for a while.
Yeah.
Like 65% of our clientele are females.
Right.
Right around 35% are men. Like, I don't have the right answer for this, but why do you think men are, maybe it's just this, but why do you think men are more reluctant to like signing up or worrying about their health? I for one, I think they do worry.
Right.
I think women care a little bit more about, like, I don't know, they are invested more than men, but men,
Right.
I don't know why. What do you think? Do you think, is it hard, or is it an ego thing? Is it tough to ask for support or help?
I think it gets to a point where, like, I would say, you get to a point where maybe you almost don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you're too far gone. So it's, I'm X, Y, or Z amount of weight,
Yeah.
overweight. Like, I'm too far out of shape. I can't do it, or, I don't feel like even, what's the point of trying? Because I'm already at this point, so what good is it going to do me? Or, yeah, like you said, like, ego-wise, like, I'm not that much overweight, or I'm not that big.
Denial, like a denial type.
Denial thing, yeah. Because, I mean, I can tell you from that picture there, like, this was, I didn't see this
Yeah.
to a certain point. Like, I knew I was big, but I didn't want to let myself believe that I was as big as I really was.
Yeah.
Kind
of like,
that makes sense.
you knew, but then you're not, like, you're just not, it's not a priority at,
Right.
at
Yeah.
that moment, or like you don't want to admit that it's a priority,
Right.
I know.
And like, even my wife, like, she's like, I didn't see it. And I think it was because it happened slowly over time, and as it just kind of became the new normal, it was 10 pounds here, 15 pounds there, whatever. It just,
You said slow, which is this is a crazy statistic. You could graduate high school, and in 5 years, you could put on 50 pounds just like that. And here's how sneaky it could be. I tell people this all the time too when I'm dealing with people that are reaching out.
right.
They're like, it's just kind of happened. Man, if you gain, it's February right now, and let's say you weigh 190, I'm just throwing out a number.
Right.
You wouldn't think anything of it. If it's February and you stepped on the scale in March and you weighed 190.8, 0.8 of a pound, that wouldn't be a big deal.
Right.
Right? You wouldn't care. You wouldn't
think
like, you
anything
wouldn't
of it.
even know, you wouldn't notice it. You really, gaining less than a pound a month, you wouldn't see that on the, like, visual appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow that trend, though. Follow that trend of gaining right around 0.8 of a pound, just a little bit more, 0.8 of a pound each month for 5 years. There's your 50 pounds.
Right.
I think the math comes out to 0.86 pounds per month.
Wow.
For 5 years. Boom. That person
There
is
you are.
50 pounds heavier when they run into their buddy that they haven't seen in 5 years.
Wow.
It's
That
crazy.
is
So
crazy.
it's sneaky, it's slow, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
And I think, tying back what you said, that's how you can wake up and just kind of not even like realize it, because
Right.
it happened too slow. It
Yeah.
wasn't drastic.
Right.
How has your daily life changed since starting? What does that look like, and how has that been transactional as far as you being a husband, dad, all of that?
I would say one big thing is just being more available. More, I have the energy to, play with the kids, or we were talking before this, we are helping an assist coach with daughter's volleyball team now. Like that guy on the left, that's not, that wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't have
you know,
been, yeah.
That'd have been like, there's no way. You know, we signed up for, it's called the Mammoth March. So it's out, and
I feel like you told me about this.
yeah, it's in Washington. Washington? Anyways, it's a 20-mile hike, 8 hours to do it. You know, it's in the mountains. There's 10 waterfalls along the way. Like, something that, like, I love the mountains, wife loves the mountains, but
Yeah.
that guy there, no. Like,
Wouldn't
you
have-
would have
wouldn't
said,
have wanted,
you
like-
just said hike, and I'd have been like, yeah, no, I'm out. Like, I'll see you when you guys get back. You know, I mean, that's not. Matter of fact, the second picture, we were hiking that day. That's where
I
we
can
were
tell.
out. Yeah.
You got your backpack on.
Yep. So we were out that day.
Yeah. Is that a rock behind you there?
Yeah.
God, that's pretty sick looking, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It was. I can't remember where that one was at. But
That's
that
a
was
crazy formation.
fairly close around here, and yeah, I mean we've been trying to get out and get our training and stuff in with the weather and stuff. It's been a little tough, but
Yeah. It'll let up here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels good to go out and do stuff like that. I not to go off on a tangent. See, if this was Joe Rogan, we go on a tangent for like 40 minutes about rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it would be so cool to go get lost. Like when I say get lost, not really lost, but like go on a several day like hike where you pack out your tents, like your food that you
Yeah.
need, and like really cover some distance and
That
be
would be-
gone for a couple of days.
Yeah.
With kids, it's a little bit hard right now, and they'd have to like either A, get a babysitter, or B, like they'd have to come along
Right.
with that. I don't know how much they'd enjoy that just
Yeah.
yet, but
yeah.
it'd be cool to do that. So, what is with this whole experience? And I know like you've covered some of this. What is one thing that you've learned with recalibrate and following this kind of lifestyle that you wish you had in your arsenal or wish you knew before?
Kind of like what we talked about already is just the ease and simplicity and like how easy it is to, I guess, almost start over.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have a bad week, you have a bad weekend, you have multiple parties or whatever going on that week, and like everything just goes to hell.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, and Monday or Sunday or whatever, you can, bam, you're
Get
right
back
back
on.
at it, and you haven't lost and destroyed everything you've done, in just a couple days' time, and like flipping that switch, that's the thing, is like realizing that just because I had X, Y, or Z bad day or, week or whatever,
Yeah.
like I'm not throwing in the towel. Like not just giving up because I had a couple bad days. Like that's not going to destroy what I've done. I can start over on Monday, and by Wednesday, Thursday, back in the game, everything's normal. Everything's fine.
Life goes on. Life goes on. We talk about in this system scoring B's, getting like an 80% because you can sustain that and do that.
Right.
And a lot of us have a disconnect of what like consistency is, sustainable consistency. Do you agree that some people like they're either like 100% all in and they're like kind of robotic and not like deviating off at all, and they probably don't enjoy that approach, or they're like at 50%, think that they're trying, or
Right.
maybe they are in certain aspects, but it's not enough.
Right.
There's a sweet spot where
There
it's
is.
like you're doing enough to turn to make things happen for yourself, but then you can still live a
Do
little.
more. Right. Yeah.
And there's
And that was my learning curve, because I'm one of those people. If I'm doing it, I'm 100% in. Like, don't put anything in front of me that I'm not supposed to have,
Yeah.
because I don't want it. And that's how it went so well so fast. And then it was learning that I can't maintain 100%. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Like you always said, strive for B's, strive for B's. And I'm like, I don't want to be. I want an A.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a B student. I want to be an A. I want to do this perfectly. And learning that it's okay. It's okay to have those days or weeks that everything just, like we said, everything just goes to hell.
Yep.
You have to fall back and look at everything and just kind of
Saddle back
it's
up.
fine. It's fine. Monday, we're okay. Like, it's okay. And that was the hard thing for me was, like I said, I'm either all in or not at all. And just realizing that I had to have some grace with myself, that it's okay to back off a little bit.
Back off. Yeah. Yeah. That's the biggest part that I see people struggle with is just finding, because your 80% consistency, that effort required, looks different than someone who's 70 years old.
Right.
Mine looks different from a female who's 35 and has 3 kids or this or that. So like, there's no one size fits all approach with
Right.
with that.
Yeah.
Perfection not required. If I was, talking to someone right now where their norm is eating out 5-6 nights a week and they're eating fast food and this and that,
Right.
and they're pumping, 3 and 4 full sugar sodas in their bodies on a daily basis, it's not fair for me to expect that, hey, completely eliminate all of that right now
Everything.
today,
Right.
and eat this and this,
And-
switch to water only. If I can get that person to, okay, instead of 5-6 meals a day, can we bump it, or not a day, on a weekly basis? How about 2? Can we do
Right.
2? Person will agree, yes, yeah, I can do that. Instead of 3 and 4 full sugar sodas, can we switch to diet or something that has 0 sugar in it?
Right.
I know it's artificial, but guess what? It's not 150 grams of
Right.
pure sugar cane. That's going to be much
Exactly.
worse than
Right.
that. The lesser of 2 evils.
Yep.
And if they say yes, when usually they do, it's like that person is going to drastically like drop body weight. Blood sugar is going to stabilize out more, and they're going to start feeling better. And
Right.
they're going to, in a month down the road, see people drop 20 pounds just from that simple
Right.
shift.
Yeah.
So that level of consistency, like, it's different for that person
Right.
versus someone else.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Yeah. And I would say that's something too, like when they make that change, and for me too, it was, you don't realize how bad you feel until you start to realize how bad you really feel. Like, you start feeling the inflammation go down, and you're able to move more, and you're just losing weight.
Yeah.
You're just lighter, able to do other things that you wouldn't normally do. It's like, God, I really did feel terrible. Like,
Yeah.
but it was so normal that it didn't register that I really felt as bad as I did. I was like, well, I'm just blaming it on getting older, or whatever.
That's a good point. You don't, like, your normal, your baseline is constantly feeling like crap at 2:30.
Right.
Waking up not like energized.
Yep.
And you may not even be like unhappy or miserable in that, but that's just your baseline. Like, that's
Right.
your life.
Yeah.
So it's hard for that person in that position to conceptualize waking up and not being as tired,
Right.
not crashing at 2:30 and wanting to go home at that point, and
Right.
like checking out mentally from work because they're physically exhausted.
Right.
So once you get a taste of that, you're like, holy crap, like,
Yep.
almost like unlocking that second level of yourself, or
Right.
2.0 version
Yeah.
of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. What would you, last question here, what would you say to someone, who's on the fence about joining, male, female? I know we're a couple of guys talking right now. What would you say to them that would prompt them to get off their butt and make a move?
I mean, honestly, I'd tell them not to wait. Like, I waited, I didn't wait long, but I pushed it off, like we talked earlier. Let me try it on my own first. Let me see how this works. Let me see if I can do it without, reaching out for help or, whatever. And
Yeah.
put away the, pride and just go for it. Like that's the whole thing. Like it's so worth it in the end. And like we talked earlier, this program literally pushed me to get healthier. But then once I got to that point, it was, I want everybody to see what this program can do, and drove me to getting my personal trainer's certification. Like if I'm gonna push people to do this, like I want to be able to help
Live and
them
breathe it,
as
yeah.
much as possible in this aspect. And I just can't say enough about
Yeah.
how well it works, and just why you would not just jump on.
1 week turns to 1 month. Like if you're procrastinating, 1 week turns to 1 month, a month turns into 6 months, and then 6 months turns into a year. What are you trying to do? Never. It's so easy. Like
Yeah.
we're already, I said this last week in an interview, we're already February 7th. I mean, it was just Christmas Eve,
Right.
So
Yep.
it goes quick. It goes
It does.
quick, and there, like you said, there is nothing to lose. This approach is different. I appreciate you being on here today.
Yeah,
I know
definitely appreciate you
it
having
takes
me on.
guts. Matt's discount code is up here. MattP10 saves 10%. And like I said, I encourage you guys to reach out to Matt, send him a direct message. He'll tell you how it is. He'll give you his honest feedback. And
Yeah,
if you have any
definitely.
questions,
Definitely.
reach out to him, and he'll be happy to answer them.
Absolutely.
Here's just a few more testimonials. So, none of these guys didn't have them count calories or macros or give up. I got to add your image up there. Give up their social media, or give up their social life, not social media. Spend hours in the gym,
Yep.
on the cardio hamster wheel. They followed a simple, repeatable system,
Absolutely.
a lifestyle system, and
Yep.
that's what you need. All right. Thank you so much.